Yep, this is our entire project. Fuck!
Yep, that's me. You're probably thinking why I'm yelling. Well, let me break it down for you.
Let me break it down for you, Mark.
We tried to build mirroring mechanical hands in 10 weeks. Ambitious? Sure. Reasonable? Absolutely not. Now, let's take you all on a journey of our pains, joys, and my contributions. Our goal was to build a pair of robotic hands that mirror each other, with finger-to-finger interaction, a pairing system, wrist rotation, and do it all in 10 weeks, just in time for the physical computing exhibit. Simple, right? Or so we thought. The idea was inspired by a few YouTube videos, especially KV's 3D printed controllable prosthetic hand. We decided to go with a similar approach, using puppet strings and marionettes. When one hand moves, the other copies it, using servos and string pulleys. The only thing different to our inspiration videos was that we had to design everything from the wrist down from scratch, and we had no clue how electronics worked. With the help of AI and YouTube, we used Arduino IDE code, breadboard circuits, and servos to get started. I took the lead on designing the physical interaction, figuring out how we could get servo-to-servo mirroring, testing motor tension, and writing the initial one-to-one movement code that you saw before.
Feedback is pretty much one-to-one. It's pretty much one-to-one.
It's much better than the one before.
While I did this, my teammates 3D printed the fingers and servo beds. I drilled, bolted, and assembled the fingers along with teammates. One joint done, only 15 more to go, for the one hand. We also tested servo movement where tugging one end of the string would curl and the other end would uncurl the finger.
And the result is...
OMG. Now we have a full hand with fingers able to be tugged by strings and spinning servo spools. But wait, our strings decided to snap, so we had to put stronger fishing wires in place. Not only that, but after a week of more testing and printing a second hand, we found more tension issues with the fingers. If the strings were too tight, you couldn't physically bend the fingers, and if it was too loose, it wouldn't move the servo at all.
You betrayed me.
As you can see in the clip, even when we physically turned the servos, the string tension sometimes would result in inconsistencies or just outright not move the finger at all. This was beyond frustrating until we eventually gave up.
Never back down, never what?
Never give up.
Never back down, never what?
Never give up.
Let's go!
Alright. My bad. Enter plan B. Flex sensors. Super precise, reliable, definitely not fragile at all, right? We got the flex sensors to work in theory, testing the circuit with a voltage divider, and it seemed that everything was going great. The sensors were working, our hand and wrists were coming along. Seeing that the flex sensors were working, we decided to buy 4 more, as the workshop's existing ones weren't enough. Also, we coded with the help of ChatGPT, allowing sensors to map to each finger with normalized values. Meanwhile, I also built 2 wooden stands. The wrist holder design didn't really fit the wood pieces, so I had to file them all by hand, then I clamped, drilled, screwed a baseboard in place to hold the stand upright. I supported the stand with a triangular prism to ensure the hand won't topple when being used. Not only did I design the stands by hand, I also built them by hand, as the workshop lacked appropriate power tools to hold separate items in place.
Some evidence down be in the video. Yeah. I'll make sure to put that one in.
Yeah.
Especially.
I did the hard part before. Here I'm just drilling 2 screws to hold the triangular wood block in place to add more stability. This helps balance the weight of the horizontal hand, wrist, and wrist holder. Here's what it looks like after you've screwed in the board and the triangle piece. While it looks a bit wonky, it worked perfectly fine. Now that I was done with the woodwork, we can check up on our teammates testing the flex sensors. Surely nothing has gone wrong.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
After throwing away $200, we now have 10 sensors and extra. We began more testing, this time more careful, placing the sensors on top of the hands like an exoskeleton, redoing the code, and testing out several resistances. Flex sensors worked by changing their resistance when bent versus unbent. So in a voltage divider, the bigger the second resistor, the bigger the flex sensors. After a week of testing, retesting, duct taping, making plastic sheets for the sensors. You would think they would cooperate, right? Wrong. They were officially broken.
These games before! I said I played these games before!
They were officially broken because of buggy, jumpy values that we couldn't normalize. We spent $200 for nothing. Anyways, life goes on. We then had to simulate the mirroring function of the hand through button press. When someone moves the finger, a corresponding button can be pressed by us to curl or uncurl the finger. Side note, we painted the wooden stands and they look sick. I also favored a sleep-deprived brain and superglued the wrist component onto the server bed. Except I did it the wrong way. This caused the weight distribution to be messed up and meant that the hands couldn't be used horizontally. This was an easy fix though, we just put the hands upright. Phew. Up until exhibit day, the button presses, pressure sensors, wrist rotations, and LEDs all worked perfectly fine. After going home at 3:30 AM, I was excited for the exhibit. Not only did our buttons bug out, we had not a single working button on exhibit day. That was until we were getting marked. As a final attempt, we switched the voltage input from 5 volts to V-in, drawing direct power from a 12-volt power supply. This not only jolted the servos, but were able to give tutors a rough understanding and experience of our project. And surprise, surprise, the Arduino fried right after. So, some pretty clear lessons learned through our journey. Don't superglue anything until you have a third opinion. Never use flex sensors for anything. And most importantly, never give up.
Let's go!